So the way that you get to Google Meet in the first place is by going to meet.google.com. So let's go ahead and do that. You can go there if you want to do that. You can actually join multiple Google Meet meetings at the same time, as long as you don't get lost on the way. So as long as you remember that we're over here in this tab up here that says Google Meet. So, but anyway, if you go to meet.google.com, you will be able to set up a new meeting here, and you can enter a code or a nickname. Most of the time, I don't even bother with that. I just say a new meeting. And what that does is it allows you to either start an instant meeting, which is just for the moment, or if you want to create a meeting for later, which is normally what I do. Like when I set up this meeting, I said set up a meeting for later. So what we did, if we click on this, then we'll get some joining info and a link, and give that a second to load. And you can see that we have the meeting link here. We have a dial-in number and a PIN. So students or colleagues can call into the meeting, and they can also join through Google Meet. And this would also work on the cell phone, on the Google Meet app as well. So either way, that's basically all there is to setting up a meeting. Once you have this, it doesn't really stay anywhere like Zoom does. In Zoom, you have like a meetings page where you can kind of see like, okay, these are all the meetings that I set up. In this case, all we want to do is make sure that we are saving this link. So if you lose this link, then you won't be able to join that particular meeting. You'll have to set up another meeting. So as long as you keep that link, then you should be just fine. To mute yourself and unmute yourself, you should see at the bottom of your screen the microphone as well as the video camera. So to mute yourself, you just click on the microphone, and you can also do that with Control D. I'm not really sure why they chose D, but that would also mute your microphone. Okay. And then the same thing with the video. If you click on the video icon, the same thing as in Zoom. If you click on that, that's the shortcut there is Control E. So if you click on that, that will turn off your camera, and it'll turn red, so such as the mute. So that's a good point. Jamal asked if we could mute everyone. So you can go through and mute people. Let me see if under the host controls, I don't think that you can just mute people all in one go. Let me just double check that there's no other setting that I'm missing here. I'll double check, but I don't think there's a quick just mute all. There is like Ellen is not muted right now, so if I wanted to mute her, I can click on her next to her name where the microphone is and just click mute, and then that would mute her. You can't unmute someone, but you can tell them to unmute themselves if you want them to talk. But you can always turn that back on if you want. Okay. So that's pretty straightforward, right? So that was just muting and unmuting. Just hit the audio microphone button or the video button. So we'll cross that one off. The next one that you might want to do is change your background. So to change your background, if you click on the three dots at the bottom of your screen, you should see an option right in the settings that says change background. Google Meet is actually really nice. Zoom has a lot of settings and hidden buttons and things that sometimes take a long time to find in Zoom, if I find anything out about that. All right. Yeah, sorry. My Wi-Fi it's actually on my data because my Wi-Fi is worse. So sorry about that. I'll plan better with my internet company next time I do a PD session to tell them to not mess with me. So sorry about that. Hopefully that will not cause too much of trouble while we're doing this. All right, let me try to share again. Okay. So, all right, almost everything out of the background, or you can blur just like slightly blur so you can see a little bit, but you're more focused. I think that this probably takes a little bit less processing computer power for your video, but it's probably very similar. So anyway, I'm going to go back to the beach, and I saw Jennifer raised her hand. You guys are always one step ahead of me. Yeah, Jennifer, you can unmute. You don't have to change background. Okay, I will look into that. I'm not really sure why you don't have that button. So, but anyway, that's where it should be when that decides to start working. But I'll take a look at that and let you know. If you want to change how many people you can see at a time, I'm maybe this is also part of the problem that I'm showing everyone that's in the meeting. So I'm going to try to not show everyone in the meeting. So if you click on the more options button and then I think you have change layout. I know Jennifer told me that she had at least that. So if you click change layout, the button on or the last option there is tiles. And you should be able to scroll that down to show less. So by default, I think it's 9, but you can set it up to 49 people. You also have the option to do, the first one is auto, so it's going to do whatever it thinks is best, but you can set it to be tiled or do a spotlight, so whoever is talking is going to be the only one that's showing, or the sidebar, which would show whatever the presentation is, and then the stuff on the side. That's a lot like what we do in Zoom. Okay, so I'm going to set that back to auto, and I'm going to scroll this back down to a little bit less. All right, I'm going to cross that one off our list here. And so raising your hand is really simple. Can everybody just click the raise hand button just so I know that, number one, you can still hear me, but number two, that you have that and you can click on it. All right, perfect. Cool. So that's it. That just helps you to know how many people have raised a hand, and it's saying, oh, a lot of people are raising their hand, and you can see the hands over here. And once you answer the question, then you can lower the hand, or the person can lower the hand as well. Right. So that is basically the only reaction. Yeah, Zoom does give you a lot more reactions. I think we didn't talk about this at the beginning, but I think the main use case of Google Meet is as a backup to Zoom. So if something happened with Zoom, or you needed one of the very particular features of Google Meet, that is why you'd use Google Meet. But for most of the cases you're going to want to use Zoom probably. So Zoom gives you a lot more. And also we don't have the highest tier of the G Suite. So we don't have in session recording. So we can't record our sessions. We can also not do things like breakout rooms, even though Google Meet does have that. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so we raised our hand. The next thing is another really easy thing, is just turn on and off live captioning. So I'm gonna try this and we'll see how it goes. So I don't think you have this as not the host, but as the host, I have this button that says turn on captions. So if I turn this on and then I start talking, hopefully it will pick me up and start trying to transcribe what I say. So you can see down at the bottom now, it's trying to do that. Oh, good. You do have this option. Great. So you actually, as a participant of the meeting, can choose whether or not you want to see closed captioning. So that's actually pretty cool. Yeah. And if you weren't all muted and someone else was talking, it would also pick them up and say, okay, this person said this and this person said that, and then it would kind of go forward like that. Okay, so to present your screen, at the bottom right of your screen now, you should see a present button. And if you click present now, then that should give you the options to present your entire screen, present just a window, or present just a tab. And that says it's the best for video and animation. So if you're just sharing like a video, then sharing a single tab would be a better option there. All right. We're almost there. The next thing is the chat button, and we already kind of did that. I guess this is a good time to mention, if you have not already put your name and your email in the chat, please click the chat button at the top right of the screen and you can type in a message there. So Cindy asked, does the host have the ability to refuse a share? So if someone else wants to share, I believe, let's just check that out. It's under host controls. So you can say they can turn this on or off. So in that case, yes, they could either, sorry, I forgot, I'm not sharing my screen. Let me try to share my screen here. All right, so under your settings, if you click settings, and then as a host, you have host controls, and you have the ability to say, let everyone share their screen. And if I turn that off, then you won't be able to share your screen. And then I also get this warning down at the bottom that says these settings will apply to future meetings as well. So it's off by default now. So if I just turn it back on, then it's on again by default. And the same thing with the chat. You can choose to allow chat or not allow chat. So you do have that. You can't stop them. If this is on, then you wouldn't be able to like say, I only want Cindy to share their screen. Like if another person in the meeting wanted to share the screen, you can probably stop them, but you can turn it off globally. So only you can share. Okay. All right. And the last thing here is a fun one, and I'm hoping this is going to work fine. So can you remove the chat beep when someone sends a message? That's a good question. I don't think so, but I don't want to swear to that. I don't. Like I said, these are pretty much the only options that we have. So I don't think that you can remove the chat sound. You can always mute. Well, if you mute the tab, then you would also mute the audio. So probably the answer is no. You have to have the chat beep, I guess. And let's see. Yeah, let's try to share a whiteboard here. So in Google Meet actually does kind of line up with Jamboard, and there's a nice kind of integration that they have. It's not really that much of an integration, but you can start a Jamboard right from within the meeting. So if you click on the More Options button and you click Whiteboard, and then it says Open a Jam, then you can actually start a Jamboard, or you can open a Jamboard that you already created. So if I wanted to, I could just start a new Jamboard. And then what that would do is it would create a new Jamboard for me. And it says that people need access to this. I'm just going to turn on. So it does ask you right away, the people in the meeting are going to need access to be able to edit the Jamboard. So I'm just going to turn on link sharing and just say anyone can edit, because that would take care of both of those, both of the people that need access. So I'm going to go ahead and click send, and then tell me what you see if you get, oh yeah, so just in the chat, you get a link that that opens up a Jamboard. And then now we should all be able to jump on the Jamboard and edit it at the same time. So we'll do another full session on Jamboard. So I won't go too much over this, but it is nice that you can have people. Oh, someone has fancy handwriting. You can have kind of that whiteboard that you have in Zoom as well. But this is actually really nice because it's a shareable document that you can then save and you can share later, and you can continue to edit it and share with other people even after the meeting is over. So you guys are very creative. Our Jamboard session is probably going to go very fast because you guys are already experts at this. So you can play around with this. That is pretty much the only other part of this Google Meet here that I had planned for today. So we actually have about 30 minutes extra. Somebody has a little snake going on. I like it. This is pretty cool. So yeah, so other questions or comments that you have. I'm sorry about the internet issues. I know that is very frustrating. It's frustrating for me as well. So Patty said that she needed access. Let me just share this with everybody. By default, it only shares with HCC, but you can then share it like any other Google Doc. If you just change it and open it up to everybody, we'll just click anyone with the link. And then Patty, if you refresh that, you should be able to pull that back in just a second here. Yep. Okay. So you should be able to get in now, Patty. And Cindy asked about my checklist. So I actually saw this in a YouTube live video, not particularly with this, but What a horrible name. It called you Dumbo Octopus. That's a terrible anonymous animal to give someone. Um, but anyway, so what I'm using for this is Google Keep. And Google Keep, we're not actually going to go into on its own session, but if you're interested, we can talk a little bit about that since we do have a little bit of time. Good. Patty got in. And Claudia also asked if there is an integration with Slides or Google Drive similar to Jam. So not in the same way, but in all reality, what's happening here is that Google Meet is just taking out one step. So instead of just creating your own Jamboard, it's creating it for you and then posting the link to the chat. So if you just create your own slides or your own Google Doc or whatever else, and then get the link and post it to the chat, it would be basically the same thing. So it's not that much of an integration. It's very light integration, but it should work in most cases. So yes, when you set up a new Google meeting, it's very, very, very simple. So all you do, go to meet.google.com, sign in. Once you're there, you just say create a meeting for later. And it's really just this. This is all it does. And then you just copy that. When you press copy, it only copies the link. But if you copy all of this, you can save the dial-in information as well. So just in case people want to call in or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay. So Claudia, I don't think you can just chat with one person. That is a limitation. Oh yeah, go ahead, Jamal. So there is breakout rooms, but in the plan that we have with HCC, we don't have access to that. It's actually in the next tier up. So if IT was to upgrade the college's Google Suite, then we would have more access. We would have recording, and we would also have breakout rooms. And I think there's some kind of polling type of thing, but I'm not 100% sure. I have to look into that a little more. But yeah, so there is and there isn't. There is, but there is not for us. Yeah, yeah. And Stephanie, that actually was the same answer. We can't. I don't know that because I lost my internet a couple times. I don't know if the thing that I was using to record is still recording. So I guess we'll find out at the end of this meeting whether it recorded or not. So hopefully it did. But I will. I'll double check on that. So yes, there is actually documentation for how to sign in with Google. Oops, sorry. It would help if I'm not muted. You're right. Thank you. All right, there we go. We're having a very rough session today. Thank you all for sticking with me. All right, so yes, there is some documentation. All right, now that I have internet now, let me try to share here. This should hopefully be less bumpy. Okay, so I promise I paid my internet. I actually paid my internet today, and maybe they're just taking it out on me because I paid it early or something. I don't know. All right, so if you go to the CTE website, it's actually HCC Google, and this website, let me drop this in the chat here. This is a page where you can just give this to students. It has a video for how to sign in with Google and with their HCC Google account, as well as step-by-step directions for students as well. So this should give them access to exactly what they need here. Okay. Okay. Other questions that I missed? I know that we were talking about Google Keep, so I want to circle back to that. Yes. So I again, because we don't have the higher tier plan, I think Zoom is way better than Meet at the moment. If we jumped in with 2 feet into the G Suite and didn't use didn't use Zoom, then this would be more useful. But because of that limitation, I think Zoom is definitely the one that I would still suggest students to use. And for us, for the rest of the sessions, we're going to be using Zoom as well, just because it gives me the ability to record. It gives me more functionality. It doesn't give me Jamboard integration, but it gives me mostly everything else. And also doesn't give me live captions. So live captions is really the only thing right now with Meet that we have that is kind of making Meet work more useful than Zoom at the moment. But Zoom still has the transcription after the fact, so that's still nice. Okay, other questions, or should I quickly kind of go through Keep? Keep is really, really simple. Keep is just Google's note-taking app. So if you go to, I'm actually, let me just close this because I'm right there. If you go to keep.google.com, I can make this a little bigger for us. If you go to keep.google.com, you sign in with your HCC account, and it's really, really simple. All there is just taking a note. So if you click take a note here, then you can create checklists, you can create a drawing or create an image. Let's see if it will load all the way so I can do something. Yep, there we go. So I can title my note if I wanted to, like I titled this one, Google Apps for Faculty. And then I can take a note here. I can also create a checklist. So I think I missed the point to just create a checklist from the beginning, but let's say I wanted to do Google search. I think it is actually under the three dots here that you can create a checklist. Yeah, show checkboxes. And then this will give you list items. And then as you do them, you can cross them off and it'll just jump down. So I really like this because, oops, sorry about that. This is causing some trouble here. There we go. I like this because it's kind of a nice way to do an agenda for a meeting. And you can just kind of cross things off as you do them. So that's kind of nice. It's similar. It does look like Trello, but it's not quite as robust as Trello. Trello gives you a lot more options in terms of organizing things and moving things around. Keep is literally just, you can move the notes around a little bit, but it's gonna kind of just go in all in one, whereas Trello you can do like different categories and things like that. So it's a little, Trello is probably better. Keep is really, really simple. The thing that I use it for is like grocery list and note taking and things like that. So very, very simple things. OneNote is way more powerful than Google Keep is. So definitely, yeah, if you're using OneNote is probably nice. But this does give you a really nice kind of agenda-ish type of thing that you can use. So I will continue to try to keep doing this so we can keep track of our time. Yeah, if you have it on your phone, you can edit the same notes on your phone and your computer. And in fact, if you have the app, you can actually do voice notes that will transcribe your audio for you. So you can just kind of talk into your phone and it'll just give you the text to speech or speech to text, as well as the audio as well. Yeah. Is there a Chrome extension for Keep? I think that there probably is. I'm not sure. I mean, that's a good question. I'm actually on. The other thing that I was going to show you was this tactic, which gives you 30 free transcriptions for meetings. So if you are using the auto captions in Google Meet, you can get them. You can get them saved to your computer, or in this case, Google Drive, I guess, by this extension called Tactic. So nothing in life is free forever, I guess. It used to be free, but now they have these plans. But you get 30 meetings per month, so I feel like that's like pretty good for something that's free. And that should just save it to your Google Drive once you finish the meeting. So once you end the meeting, it'll just jump in there. But we were looking for Google Keep before I got distracted. So let me jump back there. So I think I remember seeing this, but I'm not 100% sure if it's there. Yeah, so it's there. Yep, save to Google Keep. I think this is more for like saving a website or something. I'm sure that you can probably just take a note of it or something. Just click on it and take notes. But I have not used this very much. I really just like Keep is my scratch paper. I don't usually do much else with Keep. And we'll go more into Chrome and adding extensions and things like that. I don't know why it does not like me. Maybe I can't run it on that page. Or I can't run it at all. Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay, cool. So it saves the website and then you can take the note right there. So that is actually kind of nice. That might be good for like citations as well if you want to like students to take citations of things and they can take their note and put the citation and stuff. So that is kind of cool. Good points. Other questions here. I think I might have gotten everything. I'm not muted anymore. That's a good thing. other questions or other things that you're curious about. Otherwise, I will kind of talk through maybe the rest of the semester of different things that we're going to be looking at, that you can expect going forward. I promise I'm slowly updating the PD calendar with the rest of the sessions. I did go through and add in all of the competencies and the things that we're going to do. So I have a lot more Google Keep checklists to do. But basically, we started with Google Meet today, which was hopefully the worst, the worst of our sessions. Hopefully they'll just get better from here. And after today, we're going to do Google Chat, which is a kind of, is very similar to Slack if you've used Slack. And it works in a lot of the same way the Canvas chat does, but it's a little bit different. And there's also robots in there. So we'll look at some of the bots that you can add into your conversations there. So Google Chat is next. Then we'll go down into Google Voice. That was a popular one that I added the last minute because a lot of people have been asking about that. So I wanted to add that in there. So that's on the 18th. And then we'll then start to get into Google Drive. We'll go into Jamboard on the 4th of March. I'll send you a schedule in the follow-up email to this session, but just so you have it. Then we have slides, docs, forms, Sheets, Sites, Chrome, YouTube, and Google Earth. So that will probably take us through the end of the semester. So I'm happy to adjust this a little bit if there's other things that that you're interested in. Some of the apps are faster than the others. So like Google Meet there was not that much in there. So we were able to kind of tackle other things with Google Keep and other stuff like that. So so it just depends on what we have time for. I'm hoping to be able to do more with the different apps as the time goes. But yes, and Claudia, I will be using Zoom after this session. I promise that this was not because of Google Meet, but because of my bad internet. But I hope I didn't scar you from using Meet. You'd be like, oh, never using Meet. Look at all those problems that Mike had. So, but anyway, yes. So, but we will be using Zoom just because we have more functionality. We can do more with it. Yeah. So, any other last minute questions before we wrap up for today? I'm happy to take any other questions. Otherwise, we can end here. We'll end a little earlier.